Dear participants, good afternoon. I'm very happy to welcome you at the platform of the 15th International Economic Forum, Russia Islamic World Kazan Forum 2024. And today I would like to open this wonderful session, which is called for 50 years ahead, the creation of a personnel training system for the halal industry. And let me introduce our guest speakers today. I'll start with distinguished guest Albir Hazrat Kurganov, the Mufti of the Spiritual Assembly of Muslims of Russia. Also, we have Nizam of Marat Rinatovich, head of the Halal Competence Center of Rosquality. We also welcome Dr. Yusuf Salem Al-Harbi, the director of the Halal Center of the Saudi Food and Drug Administration, SFDA. Also today we welcome Mohammad Zamri bin Mohammed Shapik, the Deputy Director, Halal Development Department. Also, we welcome Nizar El Gandour, the Director of International Relations at Fambras Halal. Also, we welcome Almaz Karbekov, Head of the State Institution of the Center of the Development of the Halal Industry. We also welcome Abiyat Shapishnikov, the Chairman of the Halal Standard Committee of Spiritual Administration of Muslims of the Republic of Tatarstan. We also are expecting Albert Atashev from Kazakhstan, and we're also expecting the director of the Belarus Center for Sanitization and Certification, Mr. Rustam Hasmevich. So this is our composition today. My name is Shamil Shakhalov. I'm the professor at the Chechen State University, and I hope that today's session will be useful. So, with some welcoming words, I would like to invite one of our first speakers, and I invite Mufti of the Spiritual Assembly of the Muslims of Russia, Mr. Kurganov. Thank you very much. Dear participants of this session, I would like to welcome you all sincerely, and I would like to thank you for your interest today for today's topic. So, on behalf of the Spiritual Assembly of Muslims of Russia, I would like to also welcome you. Also, on behalf of the Public Chamber of the Russian Federation, as well as the Public Council and the Ministry of Agriculture of the Russian Federation. And I am also a member of this council. So it's very nice to mention that the agenda of the International Economic Forum, Russia Islamic World, is focused quite a lot on halal industry. And this is quite justified. Scientists and experts, as you know, give us some big numbers, meaning that there is an increase for the demand for halal products both in Russia and abroad. And I guess we've taken the first steps in the development of halal markets in Russia. We've accumulated some experience. And if you remember last year, we said that we started this work at the Spiritual Assembly of Muslims of Russia, as well as some centers on halal products here in Russia. And it's very nice to mention that today our government, represented by the Rosquality Center, have created the Center of Competence of Halal Products, and the Ministry of Agriculture pays a lot of attention to this. A milestone for us is a fact that there was an agreement on cooperation signed. Mr. Protasov, the head of Rosquality, signed it, and the goal of this agreement is to improve the quality of halal products, their certification and accreditation, also to promote them on the domestic and international markets. And one of the measures is the creation of the National Center of Competencies for halal products and services. And today, Marat, the representative of the center, is here. Moving on, within the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum that took place last year, the head of the Federal Service for Accreditation, Mr. Skripnik, and we, the Spiritual Assembly of Muslims of Russia, we've signed an agreement on cooperation to develop the market of halal products and services in Russia. And so those steps that were taken allowed us to address a number of organizational and legal questions. And now we can move to the strategic prospects of developing the market of halal products and services in Russia. One of the issues here is the strategy on the training of highly skilled professionals for the fast-growing halal industry. There are a few experts and we need a lot. It's important to establish a long-term, robust system of personnel training. And we also need to establish the practice of sustainable cooperation between the public authorities, religious institutions, universities, and some public organizations. And yesterday, on the sidelines of this forum, we discussed it with Mr. Protasov and some other colleagues of mine. We stated that the leading universities, on top of the Islamic University in Kazan, as well as the Lomonosov Moscow State University and Moscow State Linguistic University, the faculties of theology from these and other universities are ready to get involved in this topic, and I think that we'll keep promoting this. For us, it's obvious that personnel and efficient training system of personnel that we're discussing today, all of this is an important element of the market infrastructure when it comes to the halal products and halal market in Russia. And to conclude, I'd like to say that this is a very important stage for us, because, well, we are turning now to the east, and now the legislation in Russia has taken some steps to add some provisions to the laws in Russia. Well, you've probably heard about Islamic finance, and now Deputy Aksakov and another working group of deputies have worked on this. Now 4 regions of Russia are piloting all of this. And I'll be sincere here, we should not let people down, because we are entrusted with this and we need to show this high quality work and to continue doing this. And halal segment, within this framework of Islamic finance, plays a very important role. So I wish all of us to have fruitful discussion today. Please stay healthy, stay well, and would also be very happy to get some suggestions from you how we can improve the work that we are all doing. Thank you. Thank you very much, Albir Hazrat. Yes, indeed, dear colleagues, education is one of the most important factors and aspects in this industry. I'm doing psychological and sociological research for 12 years, and we know that there are a lot of Muslims that would like to respect halal principles and rules. But we are facing an important obstacle, which is not everybody understands what halal really is. And the role of education has increased against this backdrop. And so today we already mentioned the role of Roskachestvo organization. As you know, together with the Russian Islamic University, Roskachestvo organized different training courses across different topics. We would like to learn more about the problems that Roskachestvo faced and some prospects. And now Marat Nizamov will talk about this, head of the Halal Competence Center at Roskachestvo. Marat is our good friend. He is a great professional. And Marat, I hope that you'll pave the way towards increasing quality in training as well. Please, the floor is yours. Could you please show my slides? Good afternoon, dear colleagues, brothers and sisters. I welcome our dear guests, our dear speakers. Very happy to see you all here in Russia, in Kazan. And I do hope that our work will support the development of the halal industry here and globally. I represent the Russian System of Quality. This organization was founded back in 2015 by the order of the Russian government. And the goal is to cooperate with the Islamic world, and the National Center of Halal Competence was established back at that time. The main goals of the center is to train personnel to develop national standards, as well as to create the national network of halal certification bodies, to also raise awareness among consumers. And as it was already mentioned by distinguished Shamil, today we have a lot of Muslims and non-Muslim people who would like to consume halal products and services, but they lack some information or knowledge. And so I can give you some figures. I'll start with some figures. At Roskachestvo, we conducted a research. We surveyed consumers, and it turned out that 97 of Russian consumers that participated in this survey on halal products prefer domestic producers to the foreign international ones. And 80% of consumers assess it as high-quality products, and 83% of consumers assess it very positively. So now, indeed, the market is growing, and it grows from 9 to 12% annually. And Russian halal products volume has grew almost 3 times, but there are some questions connected to the industry itself, as well as to halal technologies and training of personnel. So, for example, if we have good equipment, good production sites, good technologies, we have good raw materials, ingredients, we have good standards, but if we don't have our personnel that will implement all this and use it, then we'll have a lot of problems. And we'll face some questions like who produced this product, how it was produced, etc. How exactly was it done? So the question of personnel is a very important one. And today, Russia has started its journey, as compared to the OIC countries. And we are ready to move forward together with our colleagues. That's why we invited colleagues to participate in this session within the Kazan Forum. We'd like to listen to our colleagues, to listen about their experience and to share ours. So there are a couple of problems in halal education in Russia, which is primarily the absence of the federal standard of training. There are no professionals in the halal industry, and also we don't have a lot of products in accordance with the halal standards, as well as we lack some awareness among consumers. And so, of course, who needs to be aware of halal? Those are the heads of productions, those who work with the technology, as well as certification and accreditation of halal products. In Russia, we have a federal accreditation service. This is a unified designated body, and today they are also experts in this respect, and they are also being trained in accordance with the halal principles. And of course, it's important for us to raise questions about the export of halal products, and we need to train the personnel subsequently. We need to understand what are the requirements and criteria in the OIC countries. You know that there are 4 legal schools for mazhabs, and there are some specificities when we want to export some products to a specific country. And today we see that the training programs should be based on the federal standard, and we need to develop it in the field of halal. We also need to introduce the practice-oriented education on the basis of our both Islam and non-Islamic universities. We also need to develop the professional standards for the professionals in the industry that are harmonized with the international ones. And we also need to create a registry of professionals in this industry. So to be able to join this registry of professionals, one needs to get trained. And if we organize the training of those professionals, then they'll be in line with the requirements of both Russian standards and the international ones. So I've already said that we've created the Center of Competences for halal products. And as of today, we offer some courses together with the Russian Islamic University. We have an agreement signed between the Russian System of Quality and the Russian Islamic Institution, and we provide training for the target audience that I've already mentioned. As of today, we already offered some courses on the basics of halal. So this is for producers, manufacturers, professionals in certification, etc. And so everybody who's involved in these processes and went to us, they got some knowledge about what is Islam, what is halal, what are the requirements, what are the national and international standards. And so this gives us an understanding, and this makes experts understand better what halal is. We also have an educational product today. This is the course of halal when it comes to the meat production. So we are very serious about this. There are different practices. For example, poultry slaughter. There is a mechanical method when for example, chicken or turkey is above the assembly line, then these words are pronounced, and then about 100,000 chickens or turkeys can be slaughtered like this. But we proceed with a manual slaughter. When our slaughters, first they see the condition of the poultry, and they do everything manually to be in line with our standards. Also today we plan to organize a course on hospitality in accordance with halal standards, because yearly the touristic flow in Russia is developing. Now we can even see the business tourism here in Kazan and in Russia, and to make our guests feel comfortable, to make them be able to trust everything here, we need to also create a robust system of hospitality in accordance with halal standards. So we've drafted this agenda or this curriculum already, and together with the Russian Islamic University we plan to offer it. And if there are any comments or recommendations, we are ready to hear them and proceed from them, and we'll add them to our programs. So thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, I'm open. Thank you. I hope I'll stay within my time limit. Right. Thank you very much for this very extensive report. So I guess if you have any questions to speakers, we can ask these questions later after everybody is finished with their presentations. Now I'd like to give the floor to Dr. Yusuf Salam Al-Harbi, who's representing the Saudi Arabia, and he's the head of the Department for the Control of Drugs and Food in Saudi Arabia. We are very much interested in your experience. You come from a Muslim country, and how do you address the problems with education in this industry? The floor is yours. distinguished Mufti, dear guests, I welcome everybody here. There is no doubt that halal industry is a very relevant one now, and it's really needed for Muslims. The process of halal production has its conditions and its limitations. And we also need to have personnel, the people who'd be doing this.
Our organization has rich experience, and we follow strict standards that were adopted based on the opinions of well-known experts, and a lot of organizations and structures were taking part in this process from many countries. And this is what we practice, and we see that other countries are practicing this as well. I'm talking about these standards. And most of matters related to human resources preparation are related to training and education of people of how to comply with standards and criteria. There are a lot of companies that would like to expand their assortment, and speaking about these companies that probably produce non-halal products, but they would like to start producing halal products. They need to think about working in accordance with these standards, and they simplify this process from switching to non-halal to halal products. But anyway, we need human resources and specialists that will have experience to give a hand to those who would like to start producing halal products. That is why we need to have a kind of a halal academy that would train specialists in halal products. And so these people, these future experts, could have more knowledge, and we would like them to be qualified specialists. Today, we know a lot of countries that have high-quality institutions that work in that direction. For example, food products are always needed for humans, and given the rise of demand in such products, we need to be ready to give people food that they want to consume. And I have to say that these qualified specialists should be ready to share their experience in different areas. And they need to be ready to help companies that would like to switch to halal products. Apart from that, consumers should have strong trust to those standards, halal standards, that are being built in our organizations. Probably these are the main matters that we need to take into account, that we need to mention, and maybe this year we will be able to make a step forward in that direction. So we got a question. So we know that a lot of meat, especially lamb, is being delivered to your country, and what standards should be met, and what should we do in order to improve this process? So, as these requirements that you need to meet to enter our market are about equipment and the state of equipment, of hardware, as well as the quality itself of the products. So as for halal products in Saudi Arabia, today in Russia there are three organizations that issue certificates of compliance. And this is actually how it works. Thank you very much. So, another question from the audience. So I work in the Halal Standards Committee, and my question is, so today one organization came to you, they produce confectionery, and they would like to deliver their goods to Saudi Arabia. Tell us, please, when it comes to confectioneries, is it obligatory that we get certificates, or halal standards certificates that we already have is okay, and you know us, we've been working for a lot of years, or we need to go through a certain procedure that will allow our facilities to enter the Saudi market? I'm not talking about meat, I'm talking about confectionaries. Thank you. Thank you.
بالنسبة للمنتجات لدينا في السعودية عدة منتجات يتطلب لدي شهادة حلال بحيث لازم تكون شهادة حلال ضمن الإرساليات.
So it is important to be compliant with certain standards that we have adopted in our country. So as for confectionaries that may contain some animal oils or fats, so in that case you need to go through the certification in our organization. But as I said before, there are three organizations of halal certification. They are standardizing halal products according to our criteria. And those organizations that were not accredited by our center, by our administration, cannot help you. But anyway, we're trying to help new organizations that would like to cooperate with us. we are open to train them and to issue them a certificate that they need. Thank you very much for your question. Let us say thank you to our distinguished Sheikh for his presentation and for giving answers to our questions. Now I would like to give the floor to another very prominent guest, Mohammed Mat Zamri bin Mohammed Shapik. He will be speaking about Malaysian experience. You know that Malaysia is one of the leaders in halal industry. Mr. Mohammed Zamri is the Deputy Director of Halal Development Department. So please tell us a bit about your experience.
Most greeting to all present here today to be get within share hope of Malaysian collaboration in building global halal power for the well-being of all humanity. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to be esteemed MC of this session for the gracious introductions and extends my sincere thanks to all the distinguished speakers gathered here. It is truly an honor to be amongst such esteemed company. My name is Muhammad Zamri and I am humbly serving as the Director of Halal Management Malaysia. Today I stand before you with a deep sense of responsibility and enthusiasm to share insight on Malaysia's journey in the realm of halal. I would love to quote the words of the Prophet Muhammad, "Inna Allah tayyibun la yuqbalu illa tayyiba." Allah is good and accept only what is good. This hadith that's reported by Abu Hurairah serves as a reminder that Allah being inherently good and perfect only accepts deed and offering that are good and righteous. It underscores the principle that our actions, whether they be in worship, business, or interpersonal relationships, should be characterized by goodness, honesty, and integrity. As we dive into discourse of halal, let us remember the profound wisdom highlighted in this hadith, striving for excellence and integrity in our endeavors. Together, let us embark on this journey of exploration and collaborations guided by the principle of sincerity and rightness as we endeavor to contribute towards the greater good and prosperity for all. For the beginnings, I would love to stress first on Malaysia's thriving halal ecosystem, a testament of our nation's commitment to excellence, integrity, and inclusivity in the global marketplace. The Malaysian halal ecosystem comprises 10 key components that comprehensively support in functionals and growth. At the heart of this ecosystem lies our rigorous halal certifications process. We recognize that authenticity is paramount in ensuring consumer confidence. Hence, our certification standards are meticulously adopted, adhering to stringent criteria to guarantee compliance with Islamic principles. Through this process, we affirm our dedication to maintaining the highest standard of halal integrity. Furthermore, our policy, law, standard, and halal fatwa serve as the backbone of our ecosystem. These legal frameworks provide the necessary structure and guidance, ensuring that halal practice are upheld across all sectors. By integrating Islamic principles into our legal framework, we demonstrate our unwavering commitment to promoting ethical business practice and upholding religious values. But certifications alone is not enough. Effective monitoring and enforcement are essential to safeguarding the integrity of the halal ecosystem through robust surveillance mechanism. We remain vigilant, safely addressing any discrepancies or non-compliance. Our commitment to enforcement underscores our determination to maintain the integrity of halal products and services. In tandem with certifications and enforcement in industry development as pronounced, Malaysia halal ecosystem is not just about compliance, it's about growth and innovations. We invest in fostering a conducive environment for halal industry players to thrive, providing support and incentive for business expansions and diversifications. Central to our ecosystems is the traceability to halal products. Through a sophisticated tracking system, consumers can trace the journey of halal products from farms to fork, ensuring transparency and accountability at every stage of the supply chains. And then the marketing also plays a very important role in promoting halal products to global audience. Leveraging innovative strategies and platforms, we showcase the quality and authenticity of Malaysia halal products, reinforcing our reputations and as a trusted halal hub. Technology and innovation are driving focus in our halal ecosystem. From halal logistics solutions to blockchain enables traceability, we harness cutting-edge technologies to enhance efficiency, transparency, and consumer trust. But our ecosystem is not just about products, it's about people. I think this is related with our topic today. Halal talent development is a cornerstone for our strategy. Through education, training, and skill development initiative, we nurture a pool of halal experts and professionals, equipping them with the knowledge and expertise to propel the industry forwards. Research and laboratory analysis from bedrock of our halal ecosystem. Through continuous research and testing, we ensure the integrity and safety of halal products, pushing the boundaries of innovation and discovery. Finally, halal fund grants serve as a catalyst for growth and innovation with this ecosystem by providing financial support to halal entrepreneurs and businesses. We stimulate economic activity and fosters entrepreneurships, driving sustainable development and prosperity. In conclusions, Malaysia halal ecosystem is a shining example of our nation's unwavering commitment to excellence, integrity, and inclusively through certifications policy, enforcement, industry, development, traceability, marketing, technology, talents development, research, and financial supports. We have built a robust ecosystem that not only meets the highest halal standards, but also drive economic growth and fastest innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, we are from Malaysia as very realize that halal training is very important to produce halal skills workers. Therefore, Malaysia has developed a halal training ecosystem through the construction of modules for halal trainer, halal auditor, halal executive, batches. Training is carried out by halal training providers at universities and halal training centers. This training is also carried out by JAKIM strategic partner. We have 35 strategic partners, halal strategic partners, and I welcome you to come to Malaysia to follow halal training in Malaysia through JAKIM, inshallah. Wabillahi taufiq hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته وجامع شيخ.
Thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. Malaysia is one of the global leaders in the halal industry. We really would like to know more about your experience, and we are hoping that we will cooperate with you even more. Just yesterday there was a session on cooperation between Russia and Malaysia. So that's why we have great plans for cooperation. Thank you very much for coming today. Just one comment, if you don't mind. Dear colleagues, yesterday we had a meeting with our Malaysian colleagues, and in particular yesterday Sheikh Zamri, Muhammad Zamri, when we mentioned the Rosquality organization, he said that original authentic ecosystem is quite important, and he suggested a project. What if we train your trainers? Well, that's a great idea. It's an excellent project. We support this initiative. We're ready to go to Malaysia, and we also invite you to Russian Islamic Institute or to Chechen Institute so they can share their experience with us, because they are the pioneers. They started to do this since 1970, so we're open for that cooperation, long-term cooperation, very close cooperation, to get your knowledge that you have accumulated for so many years. We're at the very early stage, but we would like you to guide us through. And I will be one of the lecturers of this training program, and we invite you to Tatarstan and to Chechen Republic, to Chechen State University. So let us continue, and let me give the floor to our next speaker, and that will be Nizar El Gandur. And as you are coming to the stage, maybe there will be some questions. So probably you should take your headset with you if there will be some questions from the audience. And as you are coming to the stage, I would like to say that this is the person who runs Famras Halal company from Brazil. And by the way, that's the biggest company in the world in their industry, one of the biggest companies in halal industry. And we really want to learn something from you about halal industry.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this invitation to participate in Kazan Forum. Thank you for the leaders of Halal. In reality, I have a presentation to talk about some policies, but most of the information brothers already explained. But I will highlight some information, especially our experience in Brazil. Next slide. Can I have? Just some brief information about Famras Halal. We started in 1970s when we received the first visit from Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. Some of the importers, they came for Brazil looking for chicken. And it was one of the biggest shipment of halal chicken from Brazil for these two countries, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. It was around 650 tons. At that time, Brazil, we doesn't have any experience about halal. We never exported any product from Brazil. But we started for looking for exporters that have interest to export halal chicken. Beside our halal activities, we have some halal, we have some religious and social activities in Brazil. I will pass briefly with information about Famras and our history. Brazil today, our market is not only halal protein. Beside, we have some ingredients, flavors, cosmetics, and recently we entered in halal tourism. Today, Brazil is one of the leaders in halal exporting, especially chicken. In 2020, it was around 2 million tons of chicken exported and more than 400,000 tons of chicken, halal chicken. Dr. Yusuf, he mentioned about the halal standards. Mr. Mohammed Zamri the same. Yesterday, our brother Ahsan, and also all brothers. Halal standards, today, what if we see, we have, are some of the principal standards in the world for halal products. Starting from Arabic Gulf, we have standard GSO 2055, Part 2, Part 1, and GSO 993. Saudi Arabia also, we have authorities like SFDA Halal Center, Dr. Yusuf mentioned. Any country want to export for Saudi Arabia, the certification body must have notification and registration from SFDA Halal Center, and they must work conforming the standards mentioned. United Arab Emirates, we have the UAE standards, and the authority responsible is the Ministry of Industry and Advanced Technology. In addition, for Saudi, you must have accreditation from JAC and notification from SASU. Malaysia, we have BPGPH. We must have Indonesia, BPGPH, and the standards mentioned, Kepkaban 2777, 748, and PEPRIS 6. Coming to Malaysia, we have JAKIM, one of the oldest countries, as Ustaz Muhammad mentioned. They started as the leaders of halal in the 70s. The standards, MS 1500, 1900, 2200, and 2634. Going for Turkey, we have HAC accreditation centers. Their standards, SMIC 01 and SMIC 02. We have Singapore, MOIS, HC 001 and 002. Going in some details in halal standards, any certification body want to export, they must have these standards applied in all their companies that are exporting. Some information about markets, countries. Because of the time, I won't go in details. If we compare the halal standards today, between the standards, they are almost, if we compare, they are almost the same. Some countries may accept stunning, others may not. If we see GCC countries, they have the 993. They have their rules of slaughtering. Only Muslim may be accepted for all standards. Muslim slaughterman. Supervision is the principal thing. The bleeding time. All these information about standards, it's almost the same in all standards. The fish, it's already halal. We won't enter in details about products that they are already halal. The stunning, as we mentioned, each country it have its own standard. Mechanical slaughtering. Supervision, it's one of the principal points that we must have in each establishment. I won't enter in details. Brother Marat also, he talked a lot about applying the standards, about trainings in the companies. Some highlight for the comparison of these standards. Today, let us say Brazil, why it's one of the leaders? Because we do apply all halal standards for all exporting country. We started 650 tons of chicken. In that time, Brazil, they hadn't any information about halal or about halal slaughtering But nothing is impossible. Today, if you see Federation of Russia is also becoming one of the leaders of halal exporters. And my last point for our brothers here, we must have a unique standard, because I explained the difference between standards that we have. Each country, it have its own standard. So we need to have a unique standard. We need to have a unique accreditation body worldwide. We have Mr. Ihsan. Last year he talked about FHAB, so we need to affect this FHAB if possible. This is a very important thing for the clients, certification bodies, as well the work together of the accreditation bodies. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, some slides I didn't enter in details because our brothers already explained, so I don't want to stay repeating the same information. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Спасибо за этот замечательный доклад.
Thank you very much for this very interesting report and presentation. And if anybody wants to comment, please be welcome. Yes, thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Nizar. It was a very useful information. Actually, a lot of interesting work is done. And what you mentioned about the unified and unique halal standards, it's very important, but I would also suggest something like this in the field of education and training. Maybe we could also have the unified standard in the field of halal training. It would be very helpful. Thank you very much for this suggestion. On the 28th and 29th of April in Bahrain, there was a conference, IOFI conference. I took part in that, and it was very interesting to hear that one of the topics that was raised in Bahrain was the halal industry. And it was said that they would like to standardize, bring unified standards. And, well, you have very rich experience in halal industry. Do you think, Mr. Nizar, that such countries as Saudi Arabia, some other countries that have their own researchers, science, their own methods, etc., do you think that a unified standard is possible for these countries? Or do you think that such countries as Saudi Arabia are fine living with different standards? Did you get the question?
I think
This question, authority, they must answer this question. I'm ACB. تفضل دكتور.
بالنسبة لسؤالك، طبعا هذا الموضوع لما نتكلم عن السعودية والبحرين، هي جميع دول GCC أو الدول
As to your question, in the Gulf countries, we do have a unified standard for the halal industry, but this is not for all the countries around the world. So to be unified, I mean to have a unified standard, well, we hope that it's actually possible to arrange in the future. Yes, thank you very much. You can take your seat. Thanks a lot. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest, next guest, the Secretary General of SMIC, Mr. Xanavut. Xanavut, you can just speak from your place and maybe you could share your experience in halal industry. Do you have any training courses and how do you work in this area?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear participants, brothers and sisters. First of all, I want to thank the Kazan Forum give chance to us be here to meet you again. It's a pleasure, a great pleasure to me with our be here. Just starting with the question of you asked about from Bahrain. I informed by the chairman of this session about halal standards. He also shocked because IOF is just for halal finance and banking system. They cannot talk about products, standards, systems, accreditation. But unfortunately, in the world, everybody thinks there is nothing in the halal sector. Everyone want to do something because we are not listening to each other. We are not researching, as brother said. At least Gulf has unified standard. Forget the word. But IOFS should do their job, not the other people's job, businessmen, because the standards for business sector, for trade, also finance for trade, but we are business means producers. You have a factory doing something where you have to be sure this product is halal or not halal. How you be assurance with via standards, with certifications, with controls, authority, regulation, and accreditation, etc., etc. This is not the issue of the organization just for the banking system or other, etc. Just my opinion, the chair, which was ICD, ICCD, Secretary General Yusuf Khalawi, he informed me, asked, he said also, I shocked why they organized this session. By the way, back to your question about what we are doing in training in halal, etc. First of all, maybe some of you don't know well, SMIC is the OIC institution, is affiliated to OIC, established by OIC. We are established by the by agreement, international treaty. Our office is located in Istanbul, but we are working with more than 45 countries. Three of them is observer, Russian, Bosnian, Thailand, others full members. Majority of the Muslim OIC countries member of SMIC. Under SMIC, we are developing standards. Our priority on halal issues was when the time of the establishment of SMIC, there is a huge need to unify standards. Before SMIC, we also OIC level, we studied on some unique standards, and then we created or we developed 3 standards. One is for halal food issues, one is for halal certification, the third was about halal accreditation. Unfortunately, since 2010, still people are talking about unification. Why people are saying same word and repeating at least 15 years, forget the before. Problem is still our members and countries insisting their own understanding or country policies. These are main issues we know from Asian countries, from the other countries, Middle East and Africa, Egypt, etc. Someone established a system and many years they are following. But when the critical time, they criticize everyone. They say there is no unification. There already a big unification in the OIC level. OIC last year established, as brother Nizar said, a new authority will be in Jeddah, inshallah. It will be operative starting this year, maybe beginning of the next year. We will do everything under this authority for recognition and for certification. Inshallah, one time, for example, Nizar or SFT or anyone do a certificate, we'll accept everywhere. This is our future vision. Inshallah, we'll do together. So also this for this authority, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is hosting everything. This is another issue. For the Baptist standards training, it's very important. We have to train each other. First, what is halal, and then halal auditors. Who will be auditor? Who will be technical auditor? Who will be Sharia auditor? This is very important. Because traditionally, people do a lot of things in the past, but now we have to be more professional and then to show the people how, for the halal issues, we are unified, not in standard, the working as a working. In CIMIC, we developed 20 standards. One of them is for the institution who develop or give the experts, namely professional in the persons, like ISO 17024. We established this institution will give the training for the persons. They also will accredited and then started. In our level, we are organized in 3 languages, Arabic, English, and French, for all our standards. Monthly, we have training programs. Now, inshallah, this month we will start a Russian one. First, we are giving training to our members, private sectors, and the voluntary. And then we have bilateral project. For example, we had something for Azerbaijan in Russian and Turkish language. In Malaysia, last week we have a big training program with DSM and JAKIM and introduce CIMIC, and then inshallah we are waiting next year they will transfer to the internet standards 176505 and CIMIC 2. Inshallah they will start accreditation. There is a big hope from our side. In the Russian language, we will organize with the standards bodies, accreditation bodies. They can apply, but if needed, we can organize in private sector. Problem in government side, if you communicate with the standards bodies, the government side, they are keep in their hand. But halal sector is not in standards bodies. Halal sector majority in the private sector. They have to invite, for example, we send Moscow for the training. They are not sharing with others. They have to ask certification bodies or committees who volunteer, because this is online training. There is no limitation for number, 200, 300, or just open. It's a free training. And then we established, alhamdulillah, we launched the CIMIC Academy. In this academy, there will be a lot of training program for auditors, for the experts, for the certification bodies, our standards. We have, as I said, 20 standards. Now, standard we have, in the future, inshallah, we will have more new standards will come. We also organized regional training programs for African people, for other Asian people, Asia group, or Arab groups, etc. We also have training program with the OIC institution like COMSTEC joint project, especially for the testing facilities, halal testing laboratories, how they establish, how compare peer certainties. Last year we organized a project with the COMSTEC with SFDA, and then we organized a training in the Jeddah, and they went to Malaysia, etc. The joint programs. This is generally we are open for the training. Training is should done by the professionals, not reading, just reading and listening. We have to share our experience. Sometimes we use the outside experts. They have experience in the certification bodies, in standard bodies or accreditation bodies. We are using them. Our door is open to all certification, accreditation, standards bodies. They can share with us because we are contact point of the halal standards for all Muslims, not only OIC members, we can say, but there is no limitation. Standards for humanity. You cannot say this standard just for this company. Now you see the Gulf has 6 countries, but JAG is working everywhere. It means you cannot stay local because of trade, because of the free trade, because of the halal trade. We as a Muslim, our responsibility to do halal trade and halal show halal how it benefit to all humanity, not only Muslim, because Muslim have to do. But for their health, for the other peoples, they can benefit from the hygiene, clean, very healthy products because of the ingredients are very clear from our side. There is no any harm. If something hazardous or harm to our body cannot be halal because you are killing someone. Killing someone is also forbidden in our religious. Shortly, this can I say this information. If any question, I can also answer. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you. Уважаемые
I have a comment, if I may. Dear colleagues, when you said and when you mentioned IOFI standard, first I got surprised, but then I thought, yes, well, why not? Now there is such a problem. The problem is about the financing of halal industry. Those companies that produce halal products, they should also use halal finance in accordance with all the principles and products. And maybe IOFI is working on this. Well, actually, this is only an idea, at an idea stage now, and our distinguished guest has properly mentioned that today we have already a lot of developments in this respect. And it was something different. Okay, and the second comment about the standards. Today, SMIC has transferred to the Russian Federation 17 standards, and we've added these standards to our federal list of standards because we would also like to make use of them. And we do have experience when it comes to the accreditation. What I mean is our experts at Rosquality, they're already well aware of these standards, and they are trained in accordance with those 17 SMIC standards that we got. Thank you very much. It was very interesting. And now, let's move to our guests from CIS countries. As you know, CIS is our common history. And, well, it will be very interesting to hear from Almaz Karirbekov about Kyrgyzstan and how they're working with this. Almaz is the head of the Halal Center in Kyrgyzstan. The floor is yours. First and foremost, on behalf of the Republic of Kyrgyzstan, as well as on behalf of our Ministry of Economy, I would like to sincerely thank the Republic of Tatarstan, the people of Tatarstan, people of Russia, and the distinguished guests for this big event. Kazan Forum, Russia Islamic World. For CIS countries, it's quite a big forum. Actually, when this forum started, I was working in the Ministry of Commerce and Finance, and I was dreaming about being the participant of this forum many years ago. But today, I am a speaker here, and it's my great privilege. So I would like to be brief with my presentation. I do understand that everybody is a bit tired. So, when we started back in 2015, we only had 2 people working on the halal industry, and the state wasn't very positive about this. But we asked for the opportunity to prove that halal industry is not only about religion, it's not only about some system, it's a new economic horizon. I tried and managed to communicate to my team that halal is the future. And so in 2015, we applied to SMIC, the Institute of Standardization. And so we learned a lot from them. And we were the first among CIS countries who joined SMIC. Then Kazakhstan joined, now Russia is an observer. member, and well, I hope that soon this will change to full membership. Then also in 2015 we developed the first concept. Then we developed an order number 554 by the government of Kyrgyzstan about the voluntary certification. In 2018 we joined the IHAF. This is the Dubai office, and they're doing the accreditation. In 2019 we got the agreement with Islamic Development Bank, and we got the grant from them. And in 2021 we established our Center on the Development of Halal Industry in Kyrgyzstan. What do we do within our work? First, we develop standards. Second, we diversify export of halal products. We also do the investment projects in halal industry. Then we harmonize regulatory framework. We also create conditions for the production and export of competitive halal products, etc. And so we developed some documents. By the order of the President of the Republic of Kyrgyzstan, dated 2021, order number 25. This is an order on the measures to develop agricultural industry of Kyrgyzstan, also to develop halal agricultural products. And also we prioritize halal market development in Kyrgyzstan because we'd like to expand the export opportunities. And by the order by the government of Kyrgyzstan, order number 507, this is the concept of halal industry development up to 2027. Then we have another document. This is the order by the government of Kyrgyzstan, order number 610. This is an order about the concept of halal industry from 2023 through 2027. Also, we are developing a draft law. We were fighting for this draft law for quite a long time. This is the law on halal industry in the Republic of Kyrgyzstan, and it is to be adopted soon. We also do some work to develop and approve plans of events in halal industry and halal tourism in the Republic of Kyrgyzstan. Well, one probably should understand that this legal work is far from being easy, because we do have to coordinate it with a lot of ministries and designated bodies. But at our governmental level, we are trying to do our best. And today, Marat has already mentioned that Russia is working on the same goals together with Roskachestvo. I guess that we need to also join our efforts here, because if we don't exchange our experience, we'll face more difficulties. The law on halal industry in Kyrgyzstan. This is to create the unified framework for halal products. Then this is also to create the registry of halal producers. This is also to accredit the designated bodies who can do the certification. Then we need to protect the consumer rights in halal industry. And we also will establish the mechanism how to control the labeling and activities in halal industry in Kyrgyzstan. This is a very brief overview, but this will be in our law, because we want to create the rules of the game, to understand who will do certification, who will do the accreditation, what rights and responsibilities the producers will have, and what rights the consumers will have. We've also created a technical committee. So we invite experts from different governmental bodies. This is to discuss the standards. First, we adopted the standard from Malaysia, MS 1500. We also adopted SMIC standards in Kyrgyzstan. This is now our national standard as well. We are also working on adding to this list of standards. So we also cooperate in halal industry, and we do want to be at the international level here. Our spiritual assembly is very active in this respect. The first, we signed the memorandum back in 2015 with the Ministry of Economics and Finance. So our spiritual assembly and the ministry signed a document. This is to unite the religion and the trade. And also we've established the Center of Metrology that can also issue the halal certificates. So we also have an automated system of tracking of products with a QR code. Back in 2021, we developed an order, a decree numbered 554. We would like to label each and every product with a QR code. And so the government financed this project. We have a state-owned company. It's called Infocom, and together with them we'll develop a unified QR code system, and that's how we can track the products starting from the field to the table, to the shelf. And also we've developed the feasibility study of the technical park. And our suggestion is, we suggest to consider the usage of halal labeling and signs within the Eurasian Economic Union. What I mean is, we mentioned a lot the international standards that we'll be guided by. We'd also like to have a unified certification. So I actually studied in Malaysia back in 2011, and Malaysia is one of the countries that developed halal standards. They continue to develop this, and Malaysia does everything they can to cooperate in this respect. Then Saudi Arabia. There was an agreement in project, and we working together with Saudi Arabia because we would like to have an agreement between our competent body and your competent body, because competent bodies in both Saudi Arabia and Malaysia should understand with whom they can work in Kyrgyzstan. And we would also like to involve Turkey in this, like SMIC office is there. So we would like to really unite our efforts with the best players in the industry. It would be very nice to come up with unified rules of the game. Just take a look at Brazil. Brazil is exporting millions of tons around the world. Australia, New Zealand, they are also exporting lamb, for example, to Arabic countries. It would be very nice to have this in Eurasia as well. I'm finishing. So it's very nice to unite our efforts and to come to a mutual understanding. And then, once we get that, we could also trade with third countries. It would be very nice to join our efforts. And the leadership of the Russian Federation and also what's done in Tatarstan and in Chechnya in connection to halal system, it's very nice. It's a very proper thing to do because, well, countries that are ex-Soviet countries now have become the independent states, but we should share this. This is a new wave of economic development. There's a lot of finance, but where there's a lot of finance and opportunities, there could also be a lot of problems. That's why we need to unify it within one system, and then we could work even closely with others. I'm sorry, I was too long. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. And now let me give the floor to the chairman of the Halal Standards Committee, Abias Shlapushnikov. Dear brothers and sisters, I'm very happy to welcome you to this forum. I'm so grateful to the organizing committee of this forum. In fact, all these sections are quite helpful because we can meet, we can share our experience, we can talk about our problems and how to fix them. And I guess it's quite meaningful. And I would like to share our experience of how we work in the halal industry, in certification industry. Our authority was established back in 2013. We are in the Republic of Belarus. We deal with accreditation up to today, and we have very rich experience of how to work with accreditation. We were accredited in the Emirates. I visited different forums, meetings, workshops. We also provide trainings and we take part in them, and we see that even in recent 5 years, halal industry got an impetus, not only in the CIS region, but in the entire world. 10 years ago, when we started in Belarus, there were not a single factory that knew something about halal. Now, a lot of companies know a lot about halal, and some of them were certified. And the same applies to other ex-Soviet countries and countries in the entire world, because halal is the international notion, international phenomenon, and we are just happy that halal industry has such good prospects. But unfortunately, there are more and more problems in the certification area in halal industry. When we started, there were certainly some problems, and we were very enthusiastic, and we believed that in 1 or 2 years these problems will disappear and everything will be okay. But unfortunately, we get a reverse effect. The more we work, the more we develop, the more problems we encounter. One of these problems is that, yes, as it was said before, we don't have a single standard. That's a big issue, especially for us as a certification body. We lack cooperation among Muslim countries in terms of accreditation. We see some countries that don't have halal standards, but they issue accreditations, so you are obliged to get accreditation. You are obliged to invite them. They will come and see how you work, but they don't know what requirements they are looking for. And they tell us how to produce halal. We know such countries in the Northern African region, in the Gulf region. And in recent times, we faced that problems. There are accreditation authorities in the Gulf region, and now the situation is that they do not recognize each other, their accreditation. One body in one country is accredited, another one is accredited, but they do not acknowledge these accreditations. We, as a certification authority, believe this is a great problem. In Belarus, we are not a Muslim country. We need to deal with that problem. So our factory says, so you have one Islam, one religion, but this country doesn't recognize our products. It means that it's not halal, and that's a big problem. And how we can explain it to our companies? So the mutual recognition is a great issue, and we need to work on that. And our leaders, especially when it comes to Arabian Gulf countries, I asked them to start that work on creating a single standard on certification primarily. So we have single recognition. But unfortunately, I see that the trend is that we get far and far, and the situation is getting worse every year. And if we don't take on that problem, if certification authorities do not say anything about it, I think that in the future we will have to get accreditations in each and single country, but they are very expensive. It's not a problem to get a certification in any country of the Arabian Gulf, in Malaysia, in Indonesia. We are ready to do this, but this is too expensive, and we can't afford it sometimes. And briefly, I would like to touch upon another problem, big problem, which is certification authorities' operations. So recently we see more and more certification bodies. We see a lot of unfair companies. So yes, our brothers Muslims believe that they know everything, so and they know how to produce halal products, and they know it better than we do. But it's in the past. Now only competent specialists need to issue certifications who know what food production is, what food safety is, what is labor security is, and so on and so on. Some audits are being made by phone. Sometimes they issue certificates to those plants where pork is being produced. Sometimes they say that we just pay some amount of money and we get a certificate in 10 minutes, and then these products go to Russia, to Kyrgyzstan and other countries. And that's the problem. We travel, we meet with muftis, we raise that problem. We say that you are eating non-halal products, but still there is no such work to control them. We need to start this, at least in the CIS region. And this is why I'm telling this to you, Mr. Kurganov. We stay with you. We are your students. We raise that problem, and we need to tell us how to deal with that problem. So, therefore, we need to work on that. Another thing is trading system. It's a very important topic, but we need to eradicate these problems. Otherwise, in 50 years and even in 10 years, we will not be able to meet as friends, as brothers, because Islam is all about unity. And without unity, there will be no passion and no sense in our life and in our work. That's why we need to stand as one family, just like our religion and our prophet told us. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I think that education and training can help you to eradicate such problems. And I think that's the way out. So, dear colleagues, I would like to give the floor to Counselor of the Head Mufti, Mr. Musanbayev. So I sincerely and cordially welcome guests and participants of today's Economic Forum, Russia, Islamic World. We all know that Islam is all about a righteous way of life based on apostolates of the sacred Quran and canons of our Prophet Muhammad. So today Islam is being practiced by different countries around the world where population follows the Sharia rules. And the attitude towards day-to-day life, marriage, individual life, from birth to death, are being controlled by Islam and by the sacred Quran and Sunnah, that are the best guidelines for all nationalities, nations, and each and single person in the world. So our states have a lot in common, and we are a part of the big Islamic civilization that has very ancient roots and rich experience. And now we see that the city of Kazan displays once again its activities to protect Islamic values across different areas of our life, in such as governance, Islamic finances, education, and promotion of halal industry, Islamic investments, industry, logistics, Islamic tourism, new and modern technologies, international cooperation, and business projects. We need to know that Islam is all about praise, love, and mercy, a distribution of a righteous way of life among Muslim populations and outside Muslim population. Also, I have to say that our administration, spiritual administration of Kazakhstan, always carries out work to protect Islamic values, peace and agreement among people. And the results of our work are seen nowadays. So we have signed different agreements in the religion and Islamic concepts areas. One of such work is our joint work in the education and training and promotion of halal industry. And Kazakhstan spiritual administration is paying special attention to that, especially when it comes to standardization and certification. And together with the Russian Federation colleagues, we took part in the Halal Expo 2023 in Almaty city. Director and confessor of Kazakhstan spiritual administration, people from government authorities are carrying out special work and arranging meetings on how halal industry can be supported and can be promoted. I have to say that halal and haram remain the same for many centuries, their description, despite the technologies that are being developed, because all these things are fixed in the sacred Quran by God. And I have to emphasize that another very important moment related to our food products is how food industry operates. It is important that so things that are added to our food products are produced according to Sharia, and only in that case our God will be happy about that, because we observe the purity of our food. We know that some companies are very careful with labeling. Dear participants and guests of the International Forum, once again I would like to say thank you. I wish you all the best, great health, prosperity in everything you do. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your talk. So let me give the floor to our final speaker, Chairman of the Halal Standards Committee of the Spiritual Administration of Muslims, Republic of Tatarstan, Abias Shlaposhnikov, in such a great company with muftis, sheikh, and citizens of the Russian Federation, distinguished guests, our doctor who traveled to Russia from Malaysia. We're very happy to see you, all guests, all deputies. So first I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of our head. He wanted to be present here today, but unfortunately his plans changed. I would like to say thank you. Also, our great friend Nizar came to us from São Paulo, from across the ocean. As we're sitting here, so someone came from Saudi Arabia and someone came from other countries. And the most important thing out of this is that we have organizations that write standards. We have organizations that issue accreditation like GAC. So we have Al-Harbi, we have Mr. Zamri and other organizations that issue certifications. I mean us. You could see people from Kazakhstan, Deputy Mufti, Aybek on Halal, Kyrgyzstan, Belarus. So in total, what we've got, we have standards that we need to meet. We have companies that accredit you, and we have our companies that comply with these standards, and we continue that chain, and we have producers, and we can't live without producers. So as of today, to sum up everything that has been said today, and if our moderator doesn't mind, I would like to wrap up our today's session. So the conclusion is we need to unite in favor for our common bright future, as it was said in Quran. So stay united, be afraid of God, and be cautious of everything that is forbidden and prohibited. And I think that's the main outcome, the main point of our today's session, because we are united by Islam, we are united by Quran, by Sunnah. So just imagine a person who flies for 12 hours across the ocean and then travels to Kazan for 5 years. So we're very grateful to all of you. So we were talking about these standards. So we were talking about this last year. And we have an academy. And to wrap, I would like to say the following. The system of training of personnel, we need unity. We have Russian Islamic Institute, we have government who are listening to us very carefully. Also, we were in Kazakhstan and we have signed an MOU. So we have an MOU with Tatarstan as well. We have great forum. We have everything we need. And if God allows it, we will be able to carry on. And I have to say that our experience is made of those mistakes that we have committed previously. So don't make these mistakes once again. Let's learn from your experience. And if God helps, if we use these good things that our God gives us, if we follow the Sharia rules, so everything is written. We have halal, we have haram, and we need to follow halal, and we should avoid haram. And just 1 minute of you. So there should be no bias if you're an expert and you deal with certification. You need to be fair. There should be integrity. And I think that we need to be fair and just towards ourselves. We need to be afraid of God. We have Sharia, we have our God, and the rest are mere details. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your speeches, and thank you for moderating this session. Yes, thank you, dear colleagues. So we have leading experts in this industry, and here in Russia, we keep an eye on you. We would like to learn from you. We do it. And in Tatarstan, in Chechen Republic, we do it. In Chechen Republic, you are always welcome. I'm hoping that we will be able to host a very similar forum or session. And by the way, you can come to Chechen Republic for studies, because we have master's program, we have advanced education. We are talking about cooperation. We take into account your comments and your needs, and I think that we need to put together all these things into a strategic document. And Shamil, if you don't mind, I would like to focus your attention that in Russia there are halal experts in Islamic banking, There are 11. 9 out of these 11 are in Kazan. They are Kazan-based. And Shamil is the expert in Islamic direction. And we're really grateful for you to come. And also we have other experts, 6 experts on accreditation, and 4 of them are in the Halal committee. It means that we have specialists in place. We have the training system in the Russian Federation. We have it in Russian Islamic Institute, in Chechen State University. And these are the alumni who graduated from such institutes, and they are here to help us. So, sorry for interrupting you. And so I think we can call it a session. Thank you very much, dear colleagues, and hope to see you soon.